Salut tout le monde, c'est Pat. On est encore une fois réunis pour un On en jase avec G2B. Cette semaine, je suis très excité parce que pour la première fois, on a la chance de traverser un océan et d'avoir un invité, et non pas un invité, mais une invitée, une joueuse de la PWBA qui réside en Angleterre. Nous l'avons nommée dans notre petite intro de cette semaine. Je vais la nommer Verity Crawley et je vais inviter Guillaume à venir me rejoindre pour peut-être en glisser un petit mot à nos copains anglophones.
Hello, Patrick. Hello, everyone. This is Guillaume Nadeau, also known as the Magnet, obviously. I am joined today with Patrick Dextraze as usual. And today, this is a very, very special edition of On en jase avec G2B or chit-chatting with G2B. This is the first time that we go not live, but that we have a guest speaking English. She is a pro bowler from the PWBA. She is from England, and she is in England at this very right moment. So it's a real pleasure, Patrick, to talk today with Verity Crawley. And just before we introduce her to our guest, there's something important we need to talk to you about, is that now G2B has a promo code on Buffa Bowling. Hey, look at this t-shirt. Good to best bowling. So if you want to buy anything at buffabowling.com or shop.buffabowling.com and you want to save money on your cart, it's really easy. You just have to use the promo code G2B capital letters and you will get a 10% discount on your next order. Patrick, I am speechless.
Guillaume, c'est vraiment de la belle collaboration parce que tu le sais, on a à cœur G2B et on a à cœur Buffa Distribution et c'est un beau privilège d'avoir notre code promo pour être en mesure de distribuer notre marchandise. Mais au-delà de notre marchandise, vous remplissez votre panier et vous allez avoir un 10% sur tous vos achats avec le code promo G2B en lettres majuscules. Gênez-vous pas, vous pouvez me contacter. Les commandes de chandail vont très bien, c'est facile de commander. Donc, gênez-vous pas. On n'est pas là pour parler des chandails, mais c'est vraiment génial ce qui nous arrive. Puis pour vous, c'est vraiment intéressant sur le shop.buffabowling.com. Donc, gênez-vous pas. Guillaume, sans plus tarder, I think we could go with our guest. Maybe you could turn on your mic. We are now able to invite Verity to join us.
And here she is. Oh, now she is on the other side.
Surprise!
Surprise! Hello, Verity. How are you?
I am good. How are you two?
Everything
Great.
is fine
actually.
with us. Yeah, really.
Good.
Really.
Staying safe, I hope.
I'm sorry?
Staying safe, I hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
We have a winter storm here, but we're safe.
Yeah, there's
Need to
no
make a
choice.
snowman.
Yeah, well, maybe tomorrow when the storm is gone, because we are expecting, I think, 30 centimeters of snow, something like that, for the next 24 hours. So maybe it's not the right time for snowmen, but time will tell.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
maybe
tomorrow
tomorrow.
we're going to do some snow shovels. So that's going to be really cool. Okay, so Guillaume would like to start. I used to start, so maybe I could let you start for one time.
For once, thank you, Mister. So, as we were saying in the introduction, we are very, very pleased to welcome you to our show On en jase avec G2B. It should be an hour full of great stories and tips for our fans, and we will try to learn more about you. And I am sure that your fan base in Quebec and in Canada will increase like that. Wow.
If only I could speak French, that would probably help me right now. It's been a long time since I did study French at school, but that was years and years ago.
But it's never too late to start again, right?
Oui.
Oui, okay.
Perfect.
I'm good. That's it. I'm done. I am done for the day. Maybe a bonjour, and that's about it.
Okay.
It's okay. At least she tried, Guillaume. So
yeah, she tried. So
it's
excellent.
okay. We could start with an easy one, Guillaume. You put some question on the sheet for us, and you made me smile really, really with all my teeth. Well, my teeth, my tooth. That's really cool. When I saw this question, Verity, we used to see you on TV and on bowling lanes. You're always wearing a flower in your hair, and that made me smile. Where it started from? We used to see some elastic or something like that, but a little flower just make it cute, because bowling are cutest when women play, but you increase the level with your flower.
Yeah, it's been something I have done for many years. It's hard to say exactly what age it started, but as long as I know and as long as my parents can remember, I have always worn this flower in my hair. And the biggest memory I have is back in 2008. I first competed for Team England at the World Games in Vienna. And it was there that on the first day, I bowled really bad. And the Team England coaches came up to me and said, Verity, what didn't you do today that you normally always do? And I genuinely had no idea. So they had to tell me, well, you didn't wear the flower in your hair. And
wow.
At that point, I hadn't really thought about it. So I put it in for the next couple of days of competition, and I ended up winning a silver medal. So from there, the Team England coaches started referring to me as Flower Power, and it just became a tradition to wear this flower. And it actually got to an age where I felt like I was growing up and I thought I looked silly. I'm like, Mum, I don't want to wear this flower in my hair. And she wouldn't make me, but she kept saying, Verity, come on, you have to, it's part of you. And the tradition just kind of grew. And actually, when I moved to the US in 2012, having that flower in my hair was a way that my parents could pick me out on a live stream from a crowd of bowlers, because they would see the flower and they automatically knew it was me. So now it's really become a part of my brand. And now I always want to wear it. Like right now, the fact that I haven't been able to compete since I've been in the UK, I've got a drawer full of flowers in my house here, and I just want to put one in, and I just want to compete.
Well, that's
cool.
A pretty nice story that I'm going to share right now in French, if you may, Verity.
Of course.
Donc, la première question qu'on lui a posée, c'est très simple. On la voit, c'est comme sa marque de commerce. Elle a toujours une fleur dans ses cheveux. Puis on se demandait, ça partait de où, cette fleur-là? Puis elle a dit, dans le fond, depuis qu'elle se souvient, elle a toujours eu une fleur dans ses cheveux pour attacher ses cheveux. Et puis, c'est resté comme ça. Et la petite histoire, dans le fond, qu'elle nous a amenée, c'est en 2008, Patrick, lorsqu'elle a participé au championnat du monde junior à Vienne. Elle ne portait pas cette fleur-là lors de la première journée, puis elle a joué extrêmement mal.
Puis l'entraîneur a osé poser la question, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé de différent dans cette journée que tu as fait ou que tu n'as pas fait? Puis le coach, lui, a développé cette flower power, cette magie de la fleur en lui disant, c'est la fleur qui manquait.
Donc, la journée suivante, elle a porté la fleur et durant tout le long du tournoi pour finalement gagner une médaille d'argent. Et aussi, elle nous disait, lorsque elle est déménagée aux États-Unis pour étudier, la fleur est restée encore une fois dans ses cheveux et ça permet à ses parents de la reconnaître comme ça lorsqu'il y a des shows sur YouTube ou à la télévision puis ils veulent identifier Verity. C'est super facile. Ils sont capables de voir la fleur puis ça devient comme une espèce de porte-bonheur en même temps. Fait que c'est assez particulier and I believe, Verity, that this flower is now your trademark and this is the reason why it was added to your own specific logo with the V for Verity that we see on your shirts and sweater and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was very fortunate to sign with Coolwick last year, and I decided that I would make a logo, and I really wanted that logo to be simple, but to encompass who I am. And for me, my biggest trademark was that flower. So I wanted to really put the two together, and I've created some different apparel that people can wear, obviously, to support me. And I also have it on all of my shirts and different, platforms that I use.
And I swear to you, and I told this to Patrick yesterday, I'm going to buy a Coolwick shirt of yours, maybe the Team England or the one with the stems, but one of them for sure. They're too cool.
Yeah, maybe I can send you both a V shirt as well.
Oh, really?
We're already fans, so that could be cool. We could share it. That's perfect.
We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah, after the show. After the show, when we're done recording.
Perfect.
Donc, si vous avez déjà vu la compagnie Coolwick.
The shirts don't taste good, unfortunately. Don't try and eat them.
That might be good.
La compagnie Coolwick, voilà, a signé avec Verity l'année passée et elle voulait créer un peu sa ligne de vêtements. Puis avoir son logo, elle voulait que le logo soit simple mais efficace puis qu'il parle de lui-même. C'est pourquoi on voit la lettre V et la fleur qui est intégrée à la lettre. Et si vous désirez vous procurer un chandail pour représenter Verity, pour l'encourager, ben vous le faites sur le site de Coolwick, n'est-ce pas, Patrick?
Exactement, Coolwick. Puis pour ceux qui voudraient manger de la crème fouettée, il y a Coolwick dans le rayon à l'épicerie.
Ouais, c'est sûr. Exact.
What I said to Guillaume, said there's some people would like to taste the Cool Whip. We could have in the grocery store in the second row or something like that. But the Cool Whip shirt, I think it's way cooler.
Way cooler.
I agree. Maybe now we need to get Storm to create a bowling ball that smells like Cool Whip.
Why not?
Why not?
What a great idea.
both of you are staff, so maybe you could have some power level or something like that. We could talk about it. So that might be cool.
I'm going to email Hank and Dave and Don and all of them. I know them all. They know me, so no big deal.
What about Cool Whip bowling?
So now, Verity, what is the oldest memory that you have, you being on a bowling lane?
Really hard to say. I remember being really young, and we went on a vacation to a really random hotel. Can't really remember where it was, but within that hotel, there was 4 bowling lanes. And I just remember being there and like, Mom, Dad, can I go bowl now? Can I go bowl? Like every night of this holiday that we took, I'm like, can we go to the bowl? Can we go to the bowl? That's probably my youngest memory. And I was maybe 7. I don't really remember being much younger apart from seeing some photos. I do have quite a few memories of competitions at a few different events that I used to travel with as part of my youth bowling club. I used to bowl every Saturday morning as part of a youth bowling club, and I used to travel around the UK and go to different events. So I have quite a lot of memories of those different events.
Patrick, tu veux traduire celle-là?
Ben oui, je vais m'en occuper. Guillaume a demandé à Verity si elle avait le souvenir de où avait commencé sa carrière de joueuse de quilles. Puis, elle n'avait pas réellement de souvenir, quoique un souvenir particulier lui revient des vacances qu'elle est passée avec ses parents dans un hôtel qu'elle ne se rappelle pas le nom. Elle avait environ 7 ans, puis il y avait 4 petites allées de quilles à l'hôtel, puis à chaque jour, comme Guillaume et moi on ferait probablement, maman, papa, est-ce qu'on peut aller jouer au quilles? Et à chaque jour, je vais aller jouer au quilles, je vais aller jouer au quilles. Est-ce qu'on peut retourner jouer au quilles? Donc, il y a eu cette portion-là que c'est son premier souvenir, mis à part qu'elle a plusieurs photographies où elle est en mesure de voir qu'il y avait la Ligue junior, comme plusieurs d'entre nous, on a eu la chance de jouer le samedi matin très tôt. Mais elle avait des photos, les tournois qu'elle a voyagé également avec le club junior, la ligue junior ou le regroupement de jeunes dans lequel elle faisait partie. En gros, c'est les souvenirs qu'elle a. Donc, comme tout le monde, tout ça a débuté par un jeu pour finalement devenir une très grande quilleuse.
And this being said, Verity, this little story, you know, with Patrick and I, we were inspired by our parents to go bowling. Without them, I'm not sure we would talk today. So were you inspired by someone when you were young to pursue bowling, to keep bowling, to improve, to be better?
So me starting bowling actually was due to family. My mum and my grandma had always bowled. So that's kind of how I got into it. And I had joined this youth bowling club, like I said, because my brother had gone to a birthday party and it was one Saturday morning. We went to pick him up for whatever reason, not entirely sure how it all worked. But when we went to go get my brother from this party, the youth bowling club was taking place. And it just so happened to where we signed up. So that's kind of how it started. In terms of being inspired to continue, I was very lucky to have access to some very good coaches. And I think that's what really pushed me to get better. I had one coach called Zara Glover, now Zara Giles. She was a phenomenal bowler from Team England. And I really looked up to her. One, she had curly hair. So that was already a win in my book. But two, she was a really good bowler and she had a power game. Now, within the UK, at the time that I was starting to bowl, there weren't very many female bowlers with a lot of power and with a lot of rev rate. So I looked up to her in that aspect because she was able to get left and hook the ball like I was. So I used her obviously as a coach to develop my game, but she really inspired me to keep working. And obviously she worked so hard to help develop my game and gave me a lot of, different tips and tricks, and spent a lot of time making sure that my practices were very structured and gave me little games that I could play that just kept bowling fun. And I think that because of her and a couple of the other coaches I had, I really think that that's kind of what propelled me to just work hard more than anything. And I think I just fell in love with the sport.
Patrick, qui va? C'est toi, c'est moi?
Guillaume, vas-y. Honnêtement, j'ai fait d'autres choses pendant.
Okay, bon. Dans le fond, j'ai posé à Verity la question qui l'avait inspiré à jouer au quilles puis à continuer de jouer au quilles. Oui, aussi, elle a parlé un peu de ses parents, sa mère, sa grand-mère, mais dans le fond, le vrai déclic, si on peut dire, s'est fait à un moment où son frère était à une fête d'enfants à la salle de quilles. Ils sont allés chercher son frère à la salle de quilles, puis je pense au même moment, elle a décidé de s'inscrire dans la ligue de quilles. Et à partir de ce moment-là, dans son club du samedi matin, il y avait une entraîneur qui était là. I'm sorry, may you remind me the name of that coach you talked about?
Zara Glover, and she is now called Zara Giles. She did get married.
OK. Donc, vous avez entendu le nom ici avec Dara. C'est elle, dans le fond, qui a vraiment inspiré Verity à poursuivre et à s'améliorer. Au début, il n'y avait pas beaucoup de femmes, dans le fond, qui avaient un jeu avec beaucoup de puissance, avec beaucoup de révolution, mais elle, par contre, elle l'avait, puis ça l'a captivée tout de suite. Cette coach-là a été vraiment d'une grande aide et aussi a fait en sorte que le sport des quilles restait toujours plaisant, toujours le fun avec certains drills, certains petits jeux. Et évidemment, il y a eu d'autres coachs aussi qui l'ont inspiré, mais elle a beaucoup d'attachement pour cette personne-là, Dara. And, this is a coach, Dara, that inspired you a lot. But we also know a couple of pro bowlers from England. There's Stuart Williams, Paul Moore, Dominic Barrett. They are all older than you. And, they were in the US and you were still, I believe, in the UK. So were they part of your inspiration? And if not, who were they?
I would definitely say that Paul and Dom were, based on the age I was at. I never really had much interaction with Stu, and I never really saw him bowl a whole lot, whereas I saw Dom and I saw Paul a lot more. And I actually remember my first event that I bowled for Team England. Paul Moore handed me my medal at the end of the event, and I remember being so amazed by the fact that Paul Moore gave me my medal. And I think it was even more amazing because Paul Moore was my grandma's favorite bowler, so she was there at the event and she got to watch Paul Moore put this medal around my neck, and it was like this starstruck moment for her and even for me.
Wow, pretty cool story. Patrick?
Vraiment, Guillaume. Hein? Donc, Guillaume a simplement demandé à Verity si elle avait... on connaît plusieurs joueurs qui viennent d'Angleterre, qui sont professionnels, dont les Dom Barrett, les Stu Williams, Paul Moore. Il y en a quelques autres. Puis, Guillaume m'a demandé, est-ce que ces gens-là ont fait partie de ton inspiration ou pas du tout? Puis, s'il y a des gens, est-ce qu'il y a des pros qui ont été des inspirations pour toi? Elle nous mentionnait que Stu Williams est un excellent joueur, mais qu'elle n'a pas eu la chance de le côtoyer et puis de le voir jouer énormément. Puis, un des premiers championnats qu'elle a joué, elle aimait beaucoup Paul Moore. Puis, sur le podium, elle avait eu la chance de se faire remettre la médaille autour du cou par Paul Moore. Puis, elle nous a jumelé cette histoire à sa grand-mère, qui était une fan finie de ce joueur-là. Puis, elle était dans la foule, puis soudainement, la médaille n'avait plus d'importance. Elle n'avait des yeux que pour la personne qui mettait la médaille autour du cou. C'est très, très, très ironique à la fois, parce que si ça avait été une autre personne, probablement que la médaille aurait eu beaucoup plus de valeur. Quoi qu'elle devait en avoir, mais là, comme c'était une idole, pratiquement un coup de cœur, donc c'est passé un petit peu sur silence, hein, Guillaume?
Exactement. And were there any PWBA bowlers that you would look up to, like Liz Johnson maybe, or Kelly Kulick? Especially maybe Kelly Kulick, the way she plays, she is very strong, very powerful. She likes to hook the lane. Was she part of your inspiration as well?
Yeah, definitely. That was the exact person that I was going to say. Kelly has been my role model / inspiration. When I was very young, I would say I wasn't necessarily aware of her, and I didn't 100% know about professional women's bowling. It wasn't really until I moved to the US that I had a much larger understanding about women's professional bowling. And I knew of Kelly leading up to that point, and I was actually lucky enough to meet Kelly within my first couple of years being in America. And I just remember being so starstruck by her because she was just such a lovely and genuine person. And, you know, I always had that mindset of one day I want to be like Kelly Kulick. And now to be able to compete alongside her is pretty amazing. It's very inspiring, everything that she has done for the bowling community, especially knowing that the tour did fold for a while and she went off and, you know, competed on the men's side and was a force to be reckoned with.
Je te laisse aller, Guillaume.
C'est bon. Je lui ai demandé, on a parlé des 3 joueurs de PBA qui l'ont inspiré, dont peut-être plus Paul Moore. Maintenant, du côté des femmes, j'ai lâché le nom de Liz Johnson, mais tout de suite après, j'ai pensé à Kelly Kulick, un peu à cause de la façon qu'elle joue. Elle est très forte, elle courbe la ligne, etc. Elle a dit, c'est en plein le nom que j'aurais dit, Kelly Kulick. C'était une grande inspiration. Dès que je suis arrivé aux États-Unis, j'ai eu la chance de la rencontrer, puis j'ai comme été ébahi. Oh wow, c'est Kelly Kulick. En anglais, starstruck. De voir une étoile comme ça, c'était presque inimaginable. Puis maintenant, de pouvoir participer à des tournois et de jouer contre elle, c'est vraiment comme un accomplissement assez grand. Are you starstruck by us as well? Because you said Paul Moore starstruck, Kelly Kulick starstruck. Is it the same with us?
Of course. I mean, I have, you know, I have now ticked off a bucket list the fact that I have met you guys virtually.
Bucket list, good to best, perfect. So that's cool. we talk a lot about power players, and that's what you are. And I stole something from Guillaume because he already had a chance to talk with one of your good friend, Daria. So she told him that as a power player, when she was younger, because you're still really young, but younger.
Like a teenager, let's say.
I like a teenager, you're right. With a lot of power and are able to hook the lane a lot and not really consistent as maybe you are now. She could bowl 260, fall in the hole and bowl 140 something and get back with 260. Did you get through this type of situation when you was young?
Yes, 100%. And I think for me, when I was young, it was as much as being a power player and having a high rev rate was a benefit. When I was young, it wasn't a benefit because I didn't know how to control it. So I used to get very stuck and very lost because my ball was hooking too much. And I look around me and I'm so much further left than all of the other ladies. And I genuinely didn't know how to control the tool that I was given. So for me, yes, it was amazing that I had this rev rate and everyone used to tell me like, oh, Verity, you just need to be patient and things are going to come to you and you're going to figure it out. But in that moment, I was just so frustrated. Well, because how can I throw the bowling ball good, like these people would tell me, but yet shoot 150? Yes, I might follow it by a 250, but it was the fact that, well, that doesn't really mean everything when anyone else is just shooting 200, and I'm over there struggling going 150 and then trying to fight back to shoot a 250. So I would definitely agree with Daria in that aspect.
Et j'avais quand même vu juste, Patrick. Hein?
Exactement. Donc, ce que j'ai demandé à Verity, c'est que c'est une bonne amie de Daria Payak et j'ai volé la question à Guillaume en simplement disant qu'il avait eu la chance d'échanger sur le sujet des joueurs de puissance ou des joueurs avec beaucoup, beaucoup de révolution, pour nommer des David Simard de ce monde au Québec. Est-ce que c'était un problème en étant plus jeune? Parce qu'on l'a tous déjà fait, on a tous déjà expérimenté ça, peut-être à part Guillaume, mais d'avoir beaucoup, beaucoup de révolution. Puis c'était une priorité d'avoir une courbe. Puis, comme plusieurs d'entre nous, 260, 150, parce qu'il n'y avait pas d'ajustement qui se faisait. Elle aussi a vécu ça. Puis, c'était très frustrant de ne pas être en mesure de mettre les pièces du puzzle ensemble parce que dans les faits, 200 plus 200 ou 200 plus 150, ou 250 plutôt plus 150, c'est exactement le même pointage, mais au final, mentalement, c'est très difficile, si je comprends bien, Guillaume.
Exactement. Tu as tout bien compris de A à Z, Patrick. Je te donne un A pour la traduction.
Parfait.
Now, when you moved to the United States to study at Weber International University in Florida, how big of a jump was it? Like to bowl in the UK, represent your country, and be like one of the top players out there, and move to the United States and play against all these young girls that are as good as you or better as you, and maybe that you needed to, get more consistent, as we were saying, because you could shoot a little bit here and there, as a sprinkler, because you were not consistent. Yeah, because you were not consistent. How big of a jump was it?
Well, it was a 4,000-mile jump to begin with.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just very eye-opening for me. I felt like when I was in the UK, I worked really hard and there was a lot of good bowlers around me. However, I didn't feel like I had anybody to practice with, let's say. Whereas when I moved to the US, I felt like I had so many people around me that had the same goal, that really wanted to work hard. So for me, it was about actually having that support system of other people that I could work together with. In terms of physical game, I think the biggest thing for me when I was younger wasn't necessarily the sprinkler as such. I felt like I was still okay at hitting my lines.
Okay,
it was more about controlling what my ball was doing.
I'm sorry about
when
the
I
use
moved,
of
No,
I'm sorry
that's
about
okay.
the use of sprinkler.
All good, all good. And again, I definitely am way better now compared to now. Yes, I probably was a sprinkler then. But when I moved to the US, my biggest issue was figuring out how to bowl on fresh and how to control my ball reaction. Because to me, everything just took so much. I was very slow and I had a very high axis rotation. So those were the biggest things moving to the US. I realized that if I want to actually bowl good on fresh, if I want to be a starter on this collegiate program, then I'm going to have to sort that out.
Quand même, c'est assez simple, hein, Guillaume, comme réponse.
Exact. Donc, dans le fond, je lui ai demandé c'était quoi le plus grand saut qu'elle a eu à faire lorsqu'elle est passée de la Grande-Bretagne jusqu'aux États-Unis pour aller étudier à Weber International University en Floride. Elle a dit, le premier saut, ça a été 4000... was it 4,000 miles or kilometers?
Miles.
Miles, OK. Donc, c'était son premier saut, c'était 4000 milles qu'elle a dû faire pour arriver là-bas. Et dans le fond, ce qu'elle a beaucoup aimé, c'est qu'elle pouvait, disons, enfin pratiquer avec d'autres filles, d'autres personnes, ce qu'elle avait peut-être moins la chance de faire à la maison. Et elle a beaucoup travaillé à améliorer son jeu pour les conditions fraîches et pour changer un peu son axe de rotation, sa vitesse, des trucs comme ça, parce que tout courbait beaucoup trop lorsqu'elle est arrivée. Puis elle a dit, si je veux faire partie de l'équipe partante de Weber, je dois absolument travailler sur ces points-là. Puis on voit qu'elle a réussi à accomplir avec brio ces changements-là.
Yeah, really, for sure, you worked hard on everything that maybe you could struggle at the beginning of your collegiate career, and probably you're not the same person you are, but you change a lot between the beginning and the end of your schedule or collegiate time, and we had a lot and many questions, but I think that I'm gonna jump a few others so that I'm gonna get lower and
lower in the list.
Yeah, right. Because we don't want to talk for 2 hours. That's gonna be funny, but as I said, and there's one question that we could have this discussion with our good friends Marc Caro and some Francois maybe. But what's the biggest difference between bowling at the university and playing around some peoples and jumping in the pro section, that instead of you have the possibility to make money, we know that there's a lot of expense instead of making money at the beginning. So what starstruck you maybe at the beginning of this?
Well, I think the biggest difference is that when you're bowling for a university program is that you have 7 other people behind you when you're throwing a shot. When you're competing as part of the team. And again, yes, you don't really have any money invested. You're just there competing for the university. So it's a whole different pressure environment. You want to do everything for the benefit of the team. Whereas when it gets to the professional side, it's all on you. If you mess up, that's on you. There's no one there to pick you up. So that's probably the biggest difference. And I feel like as an individual, as a professional, you put a lot more pressure on yourself and you create a lot more expectations than you do when you compete as part of a team.
But do you have access to the same reps as the men do, like Sean Ryan, Jen Callahan, Tim Mack, and all of them, to help you as if they were your teammates that you had behind you at the university?
Definitely. I mean, we're very lucky to have access to some ball reps. And the women have the likes of Matt McNeil, Del Ballard, and Jim Callahan, even Sean Ryan. So we have access to those, but you have to think that they're not going to be behind you every single shot like a collegiate teammate would be. So although those ball reps are there for you and you might be able to use them to assist you, they're not there 100% of the time. They don't see every single shot because they have so many players to watch. So they are more of a resource to go to if you get very lost, or if you want to know what the scoring pace is, or if you want to know where a certain player is bowling. They're almost a second set of eyes. At least that's how I look at it. I firmly believe that as an individual on the professional tour, I should be able to make all of the decisions myself. Don't get me wrong, it's difficult, and bowling is often a lot of a guess in terms of those decisions that you make are often a guess. But I believe that I should be able to do that by myself. And when I was in college, I didn't necessarily have that mindset. When I was in college, I had a coach there and I had 7 other girls that I could bounce ideas off of.
So they could tell you, I do this, do that, move a couple of boards, and you would trust them because they were with you as if you were like one big bowler and not just 7 or 8 individuals.
Exactly. You have to think that those girls I had worked with day in and day out on the lanes. So we knew each other's games. I knew, let's say Camilla Dammers made a 4-2 move left. I knew exactly what I needed to do if she made that move. If she hit pocket, then great. I know what my move is going to be. If she still went through the face, then it gave me such a good idea of how much I need to make an adjustment. So you were able to rely on one another in order to make those adjustments. Whereas as an individual by yourself, again, you don't have that. It's all of what you see and you seeing the ball motion in order to make those decisions and those moves by yourself.
Guillaume, je vais en faire un petit bout en français parce que clairement, on est en train de perdre le contrôle puis d'oublier nos copains du Québec. La question que j'avais à la base, c'était simplement qu'est-ce qui était très différent entre de jouer au collégial puis de faire le grand saut au niveau des professionnels. La première chose que j'ai mentionnée, c'était au niveau monétaire, mais c'est pas ça qui est arrivé en premier lieu. C'est vraiment l'impression de se retrouver seul au monde dans un champ entouré d'un paquet de joueurs plutôt qu'à l'université où c'était un groupe très uni, une équipe de 7 avec le coach. Puis à chaque fois qu'il se passait quelque chose, on travaillait ensemble en équipe. Guillaume a posé la question, parfait, mais quand on a tourné pro, est-ce qu'on a accès à des Jim Callahan, des Sean Ryan, des ball reps qui peuvent aider? Oui, ils sont là, ils peuvent nous aider, mais ça reste qu'il y a tellement de joueurs à vérifier et à regarder. Ils ne peuvent pas être là à chaque coup, contrairement au collège où ils étaient sûrs et hors des allées, ils connaissaient la game de tout le monde tellement par cœur que si une des joueuses faisait un 4-2, savait que si la réaction était ça, ben c'était facile. On y allait avec ça, puis c'était instantané. J'avais la réponse que j'avais besoin sans même le faire. Donc, on parlait beaucoup de feeling, du gut feeling pour être capable de jouer au quilles. Ben, on a la preuve encore une fois parce qu'elle vient de nous le confirmer. C'est un peu du essai-erreur, puis de faire confiance à ce que nos yeux nous disent. Donc, clairement, d'être en mesure de le faire puis de développer cette confiance-là en étant seul sur les allées, c'est clairement le plus grand enjeu puis le plus gros défi en tant que joueuse professionnelle.
Effectivement, Patrick, je pense que c'est bien résumé. Et puis, on va lui poser une question maintenant par rapport au tournoi qu'elle a déjà joué. Peut-être un tournoi qu'elle aimerait rejouer au complet parce que c'était pourri, puis elle voudrait juste mieux faire. Et un tournoi qu'elle voudrait rejouer parce que tout était parfait. C'est 2 mêmes questions d'ailleurs, Patrick, qu'on avait posées à Marc avant Noël. Now, Verity, I'm going to ask you like 2 questions that we asked Mark Buffa before Christmas, the same 2 questions. And it's about some past tournaments. So is there like one tournament that went so bad, but so bad that you would like to bowl this tournament again and do things completely differently to have a different outcome?
That's a tough question.
You have only one. You don't have to tell us everything that went wrong.
Well, I was gonna give you a whole list of these 10 tournaments and describe exactly what I wanted to change. No, honestly, I used to think so. I used to believe that, I wish I could go back in time and change X event. But over the last year or so, I have started to have the mindset that I actually needed those events to help me get to where I am now. So as much as, yes, maybe I would like to change a shot that I made and do something different, if I had done that and it would have changed the outcome of what happened, therefore I wouldn't be sat here today speaking with you guys. So as much as I might like to change something, I think my answer has to be no, I wouldn't change a thing. And that I honestly believe that I'm just on the right track, and it's all part of the journey, and I needed those bad experiences to help me get to where I am now.
Well, this is what I called words of wisdom.
You're right.
It's a tough one. I think maybe if you'd have asked me a year ago, I probably would have said that I would have loved to have changed one of my shots in my first title match or first TV match where I bowled Kelly Kulik. I think I would have been able to pinpoint the exact moment, exactly what happened. But now my answer is leave it the exact same way it happened.
Je pense que ça peut être, Patrick, une belle leçon pour un peu tout le monde. T'es venant d'une jeune femme comme ça, de se faire répondre cette réponse-là, je pense que on va se reparler, mettons, demain, puis on va dire, ouais, elle n'est pas folle, la petite Verity, hein?
Exactement.
Dans le fond, Pat, je ne sais pas si tu veux traduire un peu ce qu'elle a dit.
Oui, dans le fond, ce que Guillaume m'a demandé, c'est que on avait posé la question à Marc également. Est-ce qu'il y a un tournoi en particulier que tu aimerais comme restart de zéro, effacer tout ça, puis recommencer? Puis, ce qu'elle nous disait, c'est que si on avait posé cette question-là, peut-être l'an passé, elle aurait été en mesure de mettre le doigt sur un moment bien précis dans un show de télévision contre Kelly Kulik où elle était possiblement encore amère de ce moment. Puis aujourd'hui, elle a cheminé, et puis ce qu'elle nous dit, c'est que ça m'a permis simplement de devenir la quilleuse que je suis aujourd'hui. J'ai évolué en tant qu'être humain, et puis je suis devenu possiblement une meilleure joueuse grâce à ces épreuves-là. Vous allez dire, OK, c'est une belle grande parole qui veut rien dire, mais ça veut dire beaucoup dans les faits parce que imaginez-vous si à chaque fois qu'il y avait une épreuve, on resterait comme le nez collé dessus, puis qu'on était amer et frustré, on ne réussirait pas à évoluer en tant qu'individu. Puis c'est chapeau à Verity d'être en mesure de nous expliquer tout ça très sereinement. And now there's a good side on this question because you have the bad moment on the lanes, but you also have something that you would like to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat again because it was that good on this day or maybe the week or something like that you couldn't forget that.
There's honestly so many. I don't know if I could pick one, but there is one moment that I would love to go back and relive, and that would be in 2012 when I bowled the European Youth Championships, and I shot my first 300 there, and I would really love to just go back and experience that moment all over again. I definitely have a lot of memories of it, but it's just something, it's one of those special events that I hold very close to me. My parents were there, my grandma was there, so they all got to watch me shoot my first 300, bowling for Team England, and I ended up winning the gold medal in singles. So just the combination of that event, I would love to go back to.
And what year was that again?
2012.
OK. Donc, on est allé de l'autre côté du spectre en lui demandant est-ce qu'il y a un tournoi que tu voudrais rejouer dans ta vie parce que tout était parfait. Elle est allée avec le championnat européen junior en 2012. C'est à ce moment-là qu'elle a joué sa première partie parfaite. Ses parents étaient là, ses grands-parents aussi étaient là. Puis, tu sais, je pense qu'on le voyait, Patrick, dans ses yeux, dans son sourire, là. Tu sais, c'était quelque chose qu'elle pouvait ressentir encore. Puis, tu sais, qu'elle voudrait y retourner. And you know, to be really honest with you, Verity, what you explained there, okay, your first perfect game at the European Championships with your parents and grandparents being there. I remember my first perfect game. I was 16 years old on a Friday night in 1999, and my parents were there. I think I made a jump like this high, and I'm not a basketball player. And you know, this moment is like engraved in my memory like forever. So I think honestly, I can relate to that, what you've just said.
Yeah, I was really only 5 when you shot your first 300. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Kind of. You're good at maths, so
Thank you.
You're good. You're good. I don't want to say when I bowled my first 300, so kind of bit. Probably you're not even born. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you was really young, but you still honored. That's cool. Verity, I have something that I would like to ask you, because as a bowler, I grew up with dreams and everything, and we had the chance here to have some friends in bowling business, and some like Guillaume, our storm staffer from many years, and you have two good friends. We talked about Daria Payak a bit earlier, and Diana Z. That two of those girls are really good friends of you. And did you already dream to be on the same staff one day, maybe when you're taking a beer or a cup of tea or something like that?
It definitely was something that we had discussed. When we were in college, we were all on the same staff. Obviously, we bowled together at university, so we'd already experienced being on the same staff together. But then when we started all competing on the PWBA tour together, myself and Diana were with Columbia 300 and Daria was with the 900 Global. And obviously we did form a very good relationship, and everyone loved the three of us together. We started to call ourselves the trio, and that's just what we were known as. And we became a group of three girls that were just doing what they loved. So as that started to evolve, and as people started to follow us, we did have that thought of, oh, how cool would it be if we were all on the same staff and we could do ball reviews together. And we had obviously a bunch of ideas of different things we could do whilst traveling in order to represent a ball company if we were all on the same one. So now we can say that we're all on the same one, which is really exciting.
However, the problem is that you cannot do anything all three together because of this stupid virus.
Yes, you did have to point out the obvious. Unfortunately, myself and Daria obviously weren't able to compete on the PWBA tour in January with Diana. So that would have been the first time all three of us would have been together, because we actually haven't been together as the three of us being within Storm and Global. I have seen Diana, both of us being on Storm, but we have yet to actually see Daria. So it's definitely going to be a huge reunion when we finally get to see each other.
Patrick a demandé à Verity, dans le fond, si ça avait déjà été un rêve pour le trio composé d'elle, bien entendu, de Daria et aussi de Diana Zavialova, savoir si les trois filles aimeraient ça être représentées par la même compagnie de boules. Et oui, c'est quelque chose à laquelle il avait pensé, parce que lorsqu'elles étaient au collège, les trois étaient commandités par la même compagnie. Lorsqu'elles sont tombées pro, Diana et Verity sont restés avec, ils sont passés à Columbia 300, alors que Daria est allée du côté de 900 Global. Puis là, il se dit, ça serait cool, tu sais, de pouvoir faire quelque chose ensemble avec des concepts, lorsqu'on fait des tournois représentés. Puis, là, finalement, c'est finalement arrivé. Sauf que, à cause de ce stupide virus-là, les filles sont pas capables de rien faire ensemble. Alors, c'est à venir. Je pense qu'on va avoir beaucoup de plaisir à les voir aller, Patrick, lorsqu'elles vont être de retour ensemble, les trois filles.
Assurément. C'est, tu sais, Guillaume, on va se dire les vraies choses. C'est trois excellentes quilleuses. Puis, pour le plaisir des yeux, regarder des femmes jouer au quilles, c'est toujours un plaisir, dans le sens que c'est beaucoup plus facile d'apprécier la technique. Parce qu'il y a un petit peu moins de puissance. C'est facile de réaliser à quel point ils ont une belle technique. Donc, ce trio-là réuni maintenant, en tout cas, à un moment donné, ça sera agréable.
We're saying that, we can't wait to see you back all three together, because you are a good representative, of bowling in general, okay? Plus, you're a good representative also of SPI. And we think that it's going to be a lot of fun to see your content on the web and follow you and, just see you have fun on the lanes. I think it's going to be a blast when this can all be possible again.
I agree. And I think for us as a trio, we would love to be able to travel together and actually meet a bunch of different people. You know, we want to spread the love of bowling, and we would love to do different clinics and be able to travel the world and really just promote the sport. Ideally, that's, you know, that's in our heart, and we believe that we can influence people, whether it be to pick up a bowling ball after 10 years of not bowling, whatever it may be, but we want to be there. And it's just very difficult right now that we are unable to actually do that face to face.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick, I think that this kind of brings us to the next subject, which is coaching, because because you're not just good on the lanes to bowl, but you're also like a coach, and this is what we can see on your website. And how long have you been coaching?
It's hard to say exactly when I started. I got my USBC bronze certification whilst I was still at university. And every summer that I used to go home whilst I was at university, I used to help out in my local pro shop. And I used to run a little boot camp for the kids during the summer, just to kind of teach them everything I had started to learn at university. So it just kind of skyrocketed from there. And then in 2017, I started coaching a collegiate program, which definitely wasn't something I had originally planned. As much as I liked coaching, it wasn't necessarily a thought that I had in my mind in terms of that's what I want to do. But the opportunity arose, and I just kind of went with it. And I'd been coaching there for 3 years. Won a national championship as a coach. So yeah, it's really cool. I just enjoy helping people and sharing my knowledge with others. I think that because I was very fortunate to have some very good coaches growing up, I know that I might not have had the opportunities I had without them. So if I can help one person that then kind of feels the same way that I do, then that's a win in my book.
What could we say more than that? Guillaume a demandé à Verity, qui n'est pas seulement une excellente joueuse, qui est devenue coach, et ça très rapidement parce qu'elle a complété le grade bronze du USBC alors qu'elle était encore au collège. Puis, à travers ça, elle a commencé à vouloir partager ses connaissances qu'elle a acquises. Tu sais, c'était comme un juste retour du balancier pour elle, de partager ses connaissances, d'être en mesure de donner ça, si on peut le dire, parce que à la base du coaching, c'est toujours un don de soi. Puis depuis 2017, elle a fait le saut, puis elle est entraîneur au niveau d'une équipe collégiale. Puis elle nous mentionnait qu'elle a eu la chance, parce qu'elle a gagné au collégial en tant que joueuse, puis là, elle était capable de possiblement avoir une médaille autour de son cou en tant qu'entraîneur, et pas n'importe laquelle, une médaille d'or. Donc, tout ça mis ensemble fait que la joueuse est exceptionnelle, puis est capable de partager ça. Puis, ne serait-ce que d'aider une seule personne, c'est son but. Donc, je pense que c'est tout à son honneur de partager ça à un si jeune âge.
Exactement, Patrick. And as a coach also, what is the one common mistake that you see that bowlers keep repeating? Like, what is the one thing that you need to tell them? Like everyone, okay, you should change this, or place your hand position like that, or your first step. I don't know.
That's really hard to say. I would say with the women, it tends to be a lot of timing. It really tends to go back to the setup and when they are moving that ball away from their body. That's kind of a common thing that I see between the women. In terms of bowlers in general, I think something that is forgotten about a lot does tend to be the mental game. I don't think that a lot of people realize how important that is until they get to a high enough level to where they realize, oh, okay, like I do either have to have that confidence in myself, or I need to start working on different techniques that will benefit me in different situations. I think that that's definitely something that, for me as a coach and having been a player and experienced that, I like to share that with people because I definitely think it's a lot more important than people realize.
Je pense, Patrick, aussi que ça va dans l'esprit de beaucoup de coachs qu'on peut avoir imaginé qui nous ont influencés. Ça n'a pas tout le temps été le coach qui nous a donné genre le truc technique, mais surtout le truc mental des fois pour que entre les deux oreilles, qu'on puisse être capable d'avancer puis de passer à la prochaine étape. C'est un peu ce que Verity nous disait. Moi, je lui demandais un peu c'était quoi qu'elle devait répéter ou qu'elle voyait chez les joueurs, qu'elle devait conseiller. Et chez les femmes, je pense que c'était beaucoup le timing que nous disait Patrick. Corrige-moi si je me trompe.
Timing.
Le timing. Le timing. Et puis, du côté des joueurs en général, c'était beaucoup le côté mental, dans le fond, qui est important de travailler.
Yeah, that's really funny to say, because there's a lot of coaches that we work with that they still repeat that you're good enough to repeat again and again, but you have to trust what you see. So instead of just I did a bad shot, you can't miss a shot 20 times in a row.
It's funny because regardless of how good of a shot maker you could be, you could hit that line over and over and over again in practice. But if you get up there in a tournament and you tell yourself, I can't do this, or you tell yourself, I am going to miss this, then automatically, regardless of how good of a shot maker or how good of a physical game you have, it's irrelevant.
That's impossible to trust what you can't believe.
Yeah.
If you're scared of something, that's gonna happen. So
yeah, it's crazy how much our mind definitely controls us. And a lot of people say, you know, who's the person that you talk to the most? Well, that answer should actually be ourselves, because that little voice that we have inside of our head, I mean, it drives me crazy when I bowl. I've had to, and again, I've spent a lot of time on mental game trying to realize how to shut that little man up that's in my head that's trying to tell me negative things, because obviously that negative thinking is going to impact me in a negative way. There is no way that I can get a negative comment to implement me or to affect me positively.
That's definitely true. Guillaume, j'ai rajouté sur le petit commentaire que dans les faits, les coachs, parce que à notre niveau, puis peu importe le niveau où on est, à un moment donné, on est en mesure de répéter le lancer, puis de le répéter de la bonne manière. Puis elle a renchéri sur le fait que peu importe que tu sois un excellent joueur pour frapper les lignes, puis frapper ta cible, si à chaque fois qu'il se passe quelque chose de moins bien, tu commences à te dire un mauvais lancer, puis je vais manquer ma réserve, puis non, ce maudit spy-là, j'ai de la misère. Tout se passe dans la tête, puis on le répétera jamais assez. T'sais, on a vu des jeunes quilleurs grandir qui se sont fait battre par des joueurs d'expérience, pas par le nombre de révolutions ou par le nombre d'abats, mais simplement par le nombre d'erreurs non provoquées parce que la tête était très calme.
Et oui, et ça, on le voit dans le fond dans tous les tournois. Souvent, ceux qui vont se démarquer. We only have to think maybe about François Lavoie. You know Frankie?
Yes.
Verity? Yeah. So we look at him on television, or we watch him on television. This guy is cool as a moose, you know. He's always down to earth, never too high, never too low. And I'm pretty sure that this little, let's say the devil in his head, I'm pretty sure that he is dead, you know, because
I beg to differ. I reckon that Frankie is training that little devil in his head to say the right things. That's a question you need to ask him the next time you speak to him.
Yeah, for sure.
We will. And also, well, just a little question of mine here. People keep laughing at me because I don't have any revs. Okay, I can be consistent. You know, I can throw on a dime. I can be really good at spares. You know, I paid my due. I went on Team Canada. Very good, bravo. However, I don't have any revs.
You have some revs, but there's some different revs.
Hey, would you ever have that conversation with Liz Johnson though? Think about her and how phenomenal a bowler she is. She doesn't have a high rev rate.
Okay, so maybe I just don't control my hand, maybe. But is there anything that you could say, Guillaume? Okay, if you want to rev a little bit more, not like skyrocket revs like Jason Belmonte, or
Maybe
just a
two
little.
instead of one.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
What would you tell me?
For me, I think foul line drill is the best way to help you with any form of rev rate, because if you are trying to work on your release, doing 4 or 5 steps prior to that release, it is very hard to do. The release happens so quickly. So you really want to be able to isolate that release and just work on it by itself. So that is where I firmly believe that the foul line drill is the best possible way to do that, because you can literally feel the ball coming off your hand. You can pay attention to, okay, does the ball sit here when I set up? Does it sit here? And then as the ball is coming off my hand, where does that weight transfer? And I think doing that drill is, I believe, the best way to work on your release, therefore increasing your rev rate.
Okay, so I think I'm going to get an airplane to UK and practice this drill with you.
But that's cool, Guillaume. You could do it in the, I think she did that in her own room or something like that. You only need the couch and towel on the floor and watch the wall behind you and everything.
Exactly. And
that's what you
funny,
did.
that drill that I suggest doing, yes, in an ideal world you will do it on a bowling lane. However, I'm still able to do it at home. So that's key to where you can still work on it, and there is always a way to improve, even if you don't actually have access to a bowling lane. So that drill that I recommend for you to do on the lane, you can also do at home. So for anyone who doesn't have access to a bowling center right now, there is an availability to still develop your game. And like me, I don't necessarily feel like I really need to increase my rev rate. So when I'm doing that drill, I'm not focusing on trying to hook the ball more. I am focusing on other aspects that will develop my game.
Bon, alors Patrick, je sais maintenant quoi faire. Hein? C'est de pratiquer à la maison au lieu de faire du vélo. J'ai demandé à Verity, tu sais, moi, les gens me taquinent parce que je tourne pas bien la boule, là, on va être honnête. Puis elle a très bien compris en disant, ben, tu sais, pour passer de 1 tour à 2 tours, hein, Patrick? Donc, pour elle, c'est pas de faire une approche complète pour essayer d'augmenter un petit peu son taux de révolution, mais c'est de faire des drills, de faire des répétitions, idéalement dans une salle de quilles, là, c'est comme plus ou moins possible, mais à tout le moins à la maison, c'est d'être à la ligne noire, puis d'essayer, dans le fond, de relâcher la boule et de sentir la boule qui nous sort de la main, puis qu'on est capable de flipper un peu, puis de voir aussi à quel endroit le poids se trouve dans la main pour être capable de mieux sortir la boule et d'avoir un petit peu plus de tours.
that was dream of Guillaume since his childhood, probably, but he never had rev. But Guillaume, you was a former Canada team member, so big shout out to this, because you did that with 2 bowling balls. Everybody bring 10 and you only have 2, and you was
2
on the
bowling
team.
balls, 2 revs.
So that's perfect. The time slot,
and that just shows that you don't have to have a rev rate to be good. You know, that just shows that everybody is individual, and everyone is good in their own way.
That's right.
Thank you.
I hope that makes you feel better about your 2 revs.
Like usual, Guillaume, time flies way too fast. We have the last section, but maybe we could ask only one question to Verity before our last section of question. That's going to be fast. I definitely believe that you're really happy to be in the UK, but what missing you the most to not being in the United States?
Not being able to bowl
Okay.
besides bowling, or see, it definitely, the bowling 100% is the hardest thing to be able to not do. Obviously, normally, if I was in the UK, I would be able to bowl, so it wouldn't normally be an issue. But because of the UK being in a lockdown right now, without a doubt, it is very difficult to sit and watch people compete, having the PWBA tour just happen. And as much as I'm absolutely loving being here with my family, and I obviously wouldn't change that, but it is really difficult to not be able to bowl right now. Aside from the bowling, Probably my boyfriend, since he is still in the US. So obviously it's a little bit difficult not knowing when I'm going to get back to see him.
Ouais, j'ai posé la question, puis je connaissais un petit peu la réponse, mais elle nous a quand même complété ça avec une petite information à la fin. Je lui ai demandé qu'est-ce qui lui manquait le plus de ne pas être aux États-Unis, même si je savais pertinemment qu'elle était très, très bien près de chez elle et de ses proches en Angleterre. Et sans hésitation, si on parle de qu'ils, c'est de ne pas pouvoir jouer. Parce que présentement, en Angleterre, tout est fermé, tout est barré, c'est plate, il ne se passe rien. Donc, normalement, elle pourrait jouer, mais là, elle ne peut même pas jouer. Puis, elle ne s'est pas fait couper Internet. Fait qu'elle a encore accès à regarder ses amis puis des joueurs sur le PWBA. Puis ça, c'est quelque chose qui lui brise le cœur de ne pas pouvoir jouer. Puis, par-dessus tout ça, puis ça, Guillaume, tu vas être d'accord avec moi, c'est quelque chose qui peut sembler brise-cœur à la limite. Elle est en Angleterre, son copain est aux États-Unis. Puis ce qui est triste de tout ça, c'est qu'à cause de son visa, elle ne connaît même pas la date ou le moment où elle pourra retourner auprès de lui. Donc, c'est heartbroken qu'on dit en anglais, Guillaume.
It's heartbroken.
Ouais, c'est triste, mais c'est comme ça. Donc,
but you know, between you and I, Verity, okay, us three, do you think that without the pandemic, without this stupid virus, your visa would have been renewed?
I think so. It's a very touchy subject, or a difficult subject, because obviously when the government gave me my denial, they didn't say it was because of the pandemic. That wasn't the reasoning for the denial. However, I do believe that because of the pandemic and because the world is just crazy, I think that probably hindered my ability to get the visa.
Okay. So how long can we expect this, to be finished, for you to have your papers and come back on the tour and see
your boyfriend? And see your boyfriend.
I wish I had a date. My goal is April. I'm going to do everything I can to be at those PWBA events in April, but okay. I can't promise anything. There is no guarantee. Obviously, I'm going to reapply for the visa. It could get denied again. And if that happens, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do. So I am pretty much just thinking that that's not an option. But April is my goal. I have to be realistic and know that might not happen. But I will be doing everything I can for that to happen.
Excellent. And
maybe
you know what?
You could give us the number that we could call them. We're a good friend of Verity, so maybe you could help her and get her visa. She want to bowl. We are bowler, bowling. Let's go.
I thought you had Joe Biden's number on speed dial.
Let me double check that for a second.
Don't you have a call with him after we're done?
No. No, I think we don't have. We're not that cool enough to get the Biden number or.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, wow.
Make a wish, Verity. Make a wish.
Wow.
Good minds.
That's really cool. But ce qu'on disait dans le fond, c'est que Guillaume a simplement demandé est-ce qu'il y a une date, est-ce qu'il y a un moment, est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose, est-ce que tu as des attentes face à tout ça? Parce que c'est correct d'être pris chez elle pour le moment. Ça fait très peu de temps, même si ça fait déjà trop de temps, on ne s'en cachera pas, Guillaume. Est-ce qu'elle prévoit comme une date précise? Elle, son objectif, c'est le mois d'avril. Au mois d'avril, elle espère être en mesure de refaire sa demande et d'avoir enfin l'opportunité de revenir aux États-Unis, mais elle est quand même très réaliste dans sa quête de visa. Puis elle sait que malheureusement, peut-être que ça pourrait être refusé. On ne lui souhaite pas. Souhaitons-lui que justement tout ça soit réglé, que ça soit derrière elle. And she could get back on the lanes and kick some ass.
Oh, yes.
That's the plan anyway.
That's
plan.
right.
I love
that's
that.
Right. Instead of doing bad plans, get the right one. Doing just one and get the right one. Guillaume, before the
The lightning round.
Lightning round. Maybe we could ask Verity to thanks her sponsor. That's her show instead of us. So we don't have that much. We don't have that much.
You guys. No, I want to thank you guys for having me on. And I think, you know what I am most amazed about is the fact you can remember what I say and then translate it.
Well, you have no idea because you don't understand French. So we could have said something completely different. But we appreciate the comment, though.
Yeah, we'll pretend that you have said everything like I've said and that everything you have been saying about me is nice. Let's go with that. But no,
everything we translate was nice and even more than what you said.
Yeah, it was on point.
So you just put words in my mouth. That's amazing. Do you want to do all of my interviews for me?
Why not? Why not? We could do that. We could do it. What about Verity product translation or whatever, good to best staff or that might be cool. That might be cool.
Sounds like a plan to me. But no, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Obviously, without you guys, you know, bowling doesn't exist. So I think that it's great that you are spreading the word about the sport and speaking to different people. So keep it up.
Thank you.
And we will.
Thank you. And we will for sure. And we will for sure. And now we will have you maybe for 5 extra minutes. And after you're going to be able to watch your Comic-Con or something like that, whatever you want, or doing some jogging or but
some drilling, Pat, drilling.
Drilling, yeah, right. We used to have a little question, and the answer is going to be really, really, really short. And if you would like to comment on this, you're free to do it. But we're going to give you the answer. That's a choice question or to a choice answer. That's what we say. Yes, sir, Guillaume. I'm right.
Well, you have to choose between one thing and the other thing. So it's the lightning round. So it's
it would be called this or that, right? Because you're choosing between either this or that, and you have to choose.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
right. Patrick, do you start or I start?
Yeah, for sure. What about bowling parallel or hooking the lanes?
Hooking, without a doubt. Didn't even need a second to think about that one.
Love it. Bowling in the United States or bowling in Europe?
United States, for the main reason that there's more professional events there.
Okay.
Bowling single or as a team?
Bowling single. I selfish in that aspect, but I really like competing by myself.
Patrick, on va prendre une petite pause. On a demandé jouer parallèle ou jouer avec un crochet, genre le gros crochet. Le gros crochet tout de suite en partant sans aucune hésitation. Jouer en équipe ou jouer seul. Elle a dit ça va être très égoïste de ma part, mais jouer seul. Jouer aux États-Unis ou jouer en Europe. Jouer aux États-Unis à cause du niveau de compétition qui est beaucoup plus élevé. We just had to translate these 3 questions for our folks here. Now,
I understood.
You understood, perfect. Merci.
Storm or rotor grip?
Storm.
Or 900 global now.
But she's not able to talk about 900 global now.
Not
Storm.
yet.
Well, this side, Storm.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Here, there. Anyway, look,
Other
it's
side.
in the back.
Okay. If you're able to choose, would you like to bowl against female bowler or men's?
Men.
Cool.
Does that surprise you?
We could do a little parenthesis there because we have a good friends of us, Caroline Lagrange. Maybe you heard about her name, and
yeah, she bowled on the women's tour last year.
Yeah, she did a couple.
Very good bowler.
She did a couple, and she was a former everything probably in bowling, but she answered this question many times, and she would like to compete against men. Even she kicked ass many times on the women's side, but she wants to beat men. So I'm surprised and not at the same time that you answered men. So that's cool.
Well, if I can just add on this, Verity, I think it would be nice, like to have a giant pro tour, or having everyone bowl together and may the winner win, just like Kelly Kulik did a few years ago, with Liz Johnson being on the show, with Clara Guerrero also being on the show. This is what I want to see. I want to see the best, the best, just like we had with the PBA League, the last one we had, right?
Right. I mean, I think that as women, we are very lucky because we do have the ability to bowl in those men's events if we want to. So, I mean, it's difficult for me to say because I've definitely not competed in as many as I would like in the future. That's definitely a plan that I have. Like, I want to be competing against men. I want to compete against the women too. I just want to compete against everyone. To me, whether they're a man or a woman, it doesn't. I just want to compete, and I want to compete against the best in the world. If I want to become the best, then I have to bowl with and against the best.
Good. Guillaume, on pourrait peut-être traduire celle-là parce qu'elle est longue un peu.
Oui, on va la traduire un peu. Patrick t'a demandé jouer contre les hommes ou jouer contre les femmes. Sans trop d'hésitation, elle a dit jouer contre les hommes. Puis là, on a comme fait du pouce un tout petit peu là-dessus. Puis dans le fond, c'est tout simplement pour dire que ce soit un homme ou une femme, je pense, Patrick, c'est de jouer contre les meilleurs. Et s'il y a des meilleurs hommes, s'il y a des meilleures femmes, je veux jouer contre eux autres, je m'en contrefous. Et c'est quelque chose qu'elle veut faire de plus en plus lorsqu'elle va être de retour aux États-Unis, de jouer plus de tournois avec des hommes, justement, pour être parmi les meilleurs, tout simplement, puis sans rien enlever aux femmes. Si elle peut battre une femme qui est meilleure qu'elle, super, mais si c'est un homme, super. Un joueur de quilles, c'est un joueur de quilles. A bowler is a bowler. Whatever you're a female or a male bowler, we want to beat them. It's like me on the lane, I want to beat Caroline. And she wants to beat me, period. Right?
Period.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, in the end, you're bowling against the lane. Because if you worry about bowling against your opponent, then you're never going to win. So it's more just about you, the lane, and your bowling ball.
That's right.
Now a tough one.
Whatever the reason you're going to think, just answer.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Daria or Diana?
Oh, that's not fair.
You can say both. You can say both of them.
I'm just going to cut them both down the middle and glue them together.
Oh, wow.
That's going to make that's going to be something cute. Half part. That's going to be okay.
I'm not sure if they would function as a person though, but no, I'm not answering that one.
That's going to be funny to think about it. An easier one. Prince Williams or Prince Harry?
Not really bothered about either, to be honest.
Oh.
Guillaume, pardon. Not a good one. Okay, next one, please.
Non, mais on a demandé, dans le fond, le prince William ou le prince Harry a dit savez-vous quoi, les gars, je m'en fous complètement.
It's okay.
J'adore ça. Puis au sujet de Daria puis Diana, elle nous a pas aimé, mais elle a dit si je pouvais, là, je les couperais en deux puis je les collerais ensemble. Mais je suis pas sûr qu'ils fonctionneraient très bien.
Ça serait quelque chose de louche. As a pro bowler, would you like Stu Williams or Paul Moore?
I'm going to go Paul Moore.
Yeah, I think because of the story.
No offense to Stu, because he is amazing too, but I'm going with Paul.
Now, would you say curly hair or straight hair?
I think this answers your question.
All right.
Okay,
have you ever tried straight hair?
I have, yes, but it's weird. When I was younger, I used to hate the fact I had curly hair, and now I love it. And straight hair to me, it's weird. It's really weird. I look like a different person. There's actually a funny story. In 2019 at the Queen's, I had made match play, and one evening I wasn't bowling because I was already done until the next day. So Daria decided to straighten my hair. I go to the bowling center, and I was in the paddock, like the ball area, sorting out a new bowling ball that I had drilled. And one of the ball representatives walked past me and had no idea who I was, right? So they walked past, didn't say anything. They saw my back and they're like, who is this girl with a straight hair in the ball area wearing a dress? And they obviously at that point, the field had been cut down, so there was only a limited number of people anyway. So I then went to talk on the Bowl TV live stream, and that ball rep walked in front of the stream to figure out who I was.
Oh no! Wow.
And then they said, "Oh, wow, that's Verity," and they were so surprised because obviously no one really ever sees me with straight hair.
Je lui ai demandé les cheveux frisés ou les cheveux droits. Puis là, elle a fait, ben regarde, c'est les cheveux frisés. Puis à cela, elle vient de nous dire une petite histoire. En 2019, au Queens, elle s'était fait éliminer. Donc Diana lui avait mis les cheveux droits là, avec un fer plat. Quand elle est retournée à la salle de quilles, dans le paddock où on perce les boules, tout le kit, là, personne ne la reconnaissait. Puis là, il fallait qu'il se tourne, puis voyons, c'est qui elle, c'est qui, puis personne ne la reconnaissait. C'est juste au moment où, dans le fond, elle est allée à la table de Bowl TV pour parler, que là, le rep, il a fait « Oh mon Dieu, mais c'est Verity Crawley! » C'est quand même assez spécial. It's another trademark of yours, your curly hair.
True.
Curly hair.
Very true.
Curly hair. And you gain that much time without have to make it uncurly or straight hair. Yeah, that's right.
It takes a good 30 to 45 minutes to straighten it, and
you don't have time to waste on that.
No,
45 minutes. That's the time that Guillaume taking for breakfast. So that's perfect. What about Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Good choice.
Okay, Guillaume is a fan.
Okay.
I'm a die-hard fan of the Beatles. Good for you. American football or European football?
European football. American football is egg ball.
Egg ball. Okay. What about fish and chips or burger and fries?
Oh, fish and chips, without a doubt. I actually would probably pick a burger with chips.
Ah, okay. So a mix of both.
A mix of both, because I would say I prefer a burger to fish, but I prefer chips to fries because they are a little different.
That's cool, but that's tasty for sure.
Without a doubt. Either way, they're both tasty, but
yeah,
I like the British take on food a little bit more than the American take.
If you ever come to Montreal one day, we have to bring you to Brits and Chips. This is like a small restaurant. There are 3 locations, I think, in Montreal. And, you know, I've never tasted the fish and chips of England. However, this place, delicious. So we need to bring you there.
It's a deal then.
It's a deal? Good. Excellent.
Yeah. We're going to have a lot of deals, Guillaume. And the last
lot of deals.
but the last one and not the one. What about a cup of tea or coffee?
Tea. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Okay, me neither. That's a lie. Sorry. I drink coffee. So that's cool. We don't have any question, and we during that time I'm thinking of something special or going on my mind, but I don't have nothing. So that's really, really, really cool. The time flies. Almost an hour and a half, but. Guillaume, what could we say more? Maybe you could translate a couple last questions.
Oui, absolument. Donc, on a demandé le football européen, donc nous, le soccer, ou encore le football américain. Elle a dit le football européen, le football américain, c'est tout. Après ça, on a demandé les Beatles ou les Rolling Stones. Elle a dit les Beatles. Et comme vous avez vu, j'étais un petit peu enthousiaste, hein, Patrick, pour le choix des Beatles.
Guillaume est un fan fini des Beatles.
Toujours. Et dans les 2 dernières, c'était des questions culinaires. Est-ce qu'on y va pour une tasse de thé ou une tasse de café? C'est une tasse de thé parce qu'elle n'aime pas vraiment le café. Et finalement, on a une entente avec elle. Si elle vient à Montréal, on va aller manger du fish and chips à Brit and Chips parce qu'elle préfère les fish and chips au hamburger avec les frites. Mais c'est pour faire un mix de tout ça. Je pense qu'elle le ferait très bien.
Good.
Sounds good, Verity? Yeah?
Yeah,
on point again?
Definitely. I agree. I just have to make things complicated too. My answers were a little more than you probably needed, but it's okay. And I agree with everything you said.
It's all good.
Everything. You did everything perfect. You was perfect and on point for all the questions. Maybe we could work on Prince William or Prince Harry, or but
okay, I'll do some research. I need to look at a picture of them side by side, because right now I don't really have an image of either of them in my head.
But at the end of the story, I'm not worried about one of the other. So that's perfect for me. Your answer. That's cool. So Guillaume, maybe we could end this show sadly, because it has to be a hand or something.
It has to end eventually, but hey, maybe we will just end up doing a second episode if people like this one. So this means they need to watch it, they need to like it, and they need to comment on it, and that way if they have more questions, then we can do a second episode.
Absolutely. I would be more than honored to have a second show with you, and who knows, maybe it will be when you move back to the United States to celebrate Verity being back in the United States to compete on the tour, and have your comments and maybe talk about the tournaments that you're on. So yeah, of course, if we can do this again, why not?
Why not? We're gonna do this, and maybe we could do it shorter if you get back on the lanes, and we could talk about the tournament. That's gonna be really, really, really cool, because Good to Best Bowling used to do it after a bowling tournament, and I don't even remember what's a bowling tournament, but one day I'll get back on the lanes and we'll do some review for sure. And people are watching us. Thank you again to be there, because Verity is really cool. Guillaume and I doing that for you. We're taking time to just enjoy the boring time or something like that, but definitely we are there, and we do this for you and for us a bit. But stay tuned. We're gonna have another crowd and many people that want to talk to us, and I'm gonna let Guillaume finish this in French maybe.
Oui, peut-être en français. On vous remercie tout le monde d'avoir été avec nous autres pour cet épisode très spécial de On en jase avec G2B, avec Verity Crawley, qui l'enregistrement s'est fait en direct. Là. On ne coupera rien au montage, tout est là. Elle était en Angleterre chez elle, chez ses parents. Nous étions chez nous à Saint-Étienne, Saint-Rédempteur. Ça a été un plaisir. Merci beaucoup d'avoir été là. La semaine prochaine, on devrait avoir une autre femme avec nous. Il faut qu'on s'entende avec elle sur les termes de son contrat, bien entendu. Et ça va nous faire plaisir de jaser quilles à nouveau. Verity, it's been a blast. Thank you very much. And
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And if you want to stay a little bit longer so we can just end this all three together,
And we have to sign our contract. I want my Verity jersey. I want an appointment.
Shirts.
I want my appointment for fish and chips. I want
all of that.
I want all of that. So, people, thank you again for watching us.
Thank you.
And stay safe. Ciao.